I'm John Zimmerman with Upper Creek Angler, and we're continuing our work through Steve Skuce's book, Grayling Flies. This is fly number 42, the Green Genie. The fly was originally tied on a straight shank nymph hook, but since it's going to be the same perspective in 360 degrees, I'm going to tie it on a jig hook, as I normally do with all flies that are the same in appearance 360 degrees around. So in the vise I have a number 12 syndicate jig hook with a green bead. This is a 3.5mm tungsten slotted bead, and in my bobbin I have some olive green thread. So we'll take the thread back to just to the bend of the hook, where we will then tie in our tailing material, which is going to be some dyed green pheasant tail. We're just going to clip out 3 or 4 fibers. We're not using this for the body, so you don't need a big hunk of it. We'll tie those in about the length of the gap of the hook. Normally do for nymphs. And as I always do, I'm going to run my thread up to the front of the hook and then clip off so that I can use what would be waste to help me with the taper before I tie in the rest of my materials. See if we can zoom in a little bit more. Nope, I think that's about all we're going to get. The next thing we're going to tie in is some copper wire, which will be our ribbing. And again, I'm going to take that all the way up to the top so that it doesn't affect my end taper. And then we'll tie in what's going to be the body of this fly, which is a baet. Tie that in. And one thing that I always do when I'm working with baets, or even always try to remember to do when I'm tying with baets or pheasant tail quills, peacock curl quills, is to give the body of that a little paint of super glue to help sturdy all of that up. I'm going to use the rotary function on my vise to finish this, so I'm going to go ahead and tie in a short whip finish there so I can cradle this. And then either using your fingers, I've got a nice long baet here, so I could use my fingers if I wanted, but either using your fingers or a pair of hackle pliers, bring your baet up to the top of the hook and trap with one turn of your thread toward the top. And if you don't get it totally flush with the bead, it's not an issue because you're going to cover this up with some dubbing anyway. Clip off your waist. And so if your material had come undone on you halfway through, or your quill broke on you at the top, you would still have the rest of that trapped because of the super glue. So it's a good habit to get into when working with either baets or quills. Couple wraps over the copper wire, and then we will come in with some, I'm using some rabbit dubbing from Orbis. This is a natural hare's ear that has been dyed olive. And dub a short collar on this. I'm probably going to need one more little pinch. Don't overdo on dubbing collars. It's quite easy to overdo on dubbing collars, but when a couple of fish have eaten on a fly and some of these hairs start to come undone on you, if you have over wrapped and overdone on the collar, it'll start to obscure the body of the hook, or the body of the fly. So I have, I'm using some 16 Alt Viva so I can make a lot of thread turns if I need to and not build up a head too much. And just to finish this off, a dose of Sally Hansen's or your favorite head cement. And we're gonna quick finish that right into the fly. And there you have it, a very easy fly to tie. I'm gonna start keeping this in sizes 12 all the way down to 18 for any time baetis flies are on the prowl. So anytime fish are eating baetis flies, this should work really well. If you find that the pheasant tail starts to get chewed off on you too much, you could always swap out Coq de Leon for the tailing on that. So again, this is fly number 42, the Green Genie, from Steve Skuce's book, Grayling Flies. Happy tying.